Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's Feliciano Live. We're here with Dr. Dubey. He's a professor of economics here at the Feliciano School of Business at Montclair State University. We are here talking about the gig economy. For those of you who are just joining us, feel free to ask questions. We'll get to as many as we can. I'll start with the first question, which is, what is the gig economy?
First of all, I want to thank you, Phil, for giving me this opportunity to participate in this session. This is a very interesting topic, and I'll certainly like to provide as much information as I can. So first, with the definition itself, gig economy is a very, very important segment of economy in recent times. There are numerous ways to define. So first one, maybe it's a labor market, which a feature that most of the short-term jobs are made available through this platform. That could be our first definition. We could also say a gig economy is a free market system in which temporary positions are common and firms contract with independent workers for short-time engagements. That would be another way to look at it. If we see the working of a gig economy, it relies on a two-sided market, with the two sides being workers on the one, and the firms, we'll call them even customers, as the other. So the more of each one of these two groups we have, like more workers, more firms, it is better for the other group. That's one aspect of the two-sided labor market. And it makes easier for the economic activities to be valued by their price rather than by the contours of firms, organizations, boundaries of the firms itself. So we see accountants, we see drivers, lawyers, even software developers, cleaners, and many others who list themselves online with description of their experience, the job they want to offer, their availability, and what they want to charge. As more and more people have signed up online, this platform has become highly efficient. So clients who need some tasks to be done, they can easily find out people with skills they are looking for without making a permanent job offer. So that's a very big plus of a feature of the gig economy.
So for those who just joined us, we're here with Dr. Ram Dubey. He's a professor of economics here at the Feliciano School of Business at Montclair State. We're talking about the gig economy. Feel free to ask questions while we're progressing through the prepared questions. We actually do have a live question. What's feeding the gig economy to grow?
So the many segments of labor market we can look at. One of them, let's look at the millennials. For those workers who are joining the job market for the first time, it's a really useful idea to try out several alternative jobs to figure the true professional strengths before they seek a more regular job or a job on permanent basis. So that's one. It allows the workers the flexibility both of time as well as place for choosing the jobs. So they are free to choose their work hours, the timing. Many of the jobs offered on gig economy are location independent, so one can work through digital platform to get their job done, and that is some of the features which is feeding into growing prevalence of the gig economy.
So for those who just joined us, we're here with Dr. Ram Dubey, professor of economics here at the Feliciano School of Business. We're talking about gig economy. We actually do have another question. Does the Bureau of Labor Statistics have any growth projection numbers on this economy?
That's a very, very relevant question. In fact, this question was going to be up there at some point of time during our conversation. Very limited structured data analysis has been done on the component which comprises the gig economy. Very recent data, very recent study, I believe September 2018, puts the component of US economy which comprises of gig economy at about 1%. So 1 point, it is growing, but if we look at current state, it's about 1% of the total job market in US.
We actually have another live question. In the future, is the gig economy going to remain to weekends as a second job, or will it grow to a permanent job for people?
Yes. There are many particular age groups of workers who are participating in the gig economy. So those who are baby boomers, no, probably not, because they are already in retirement, and the way they are seeking jobs in gig economy is maybe to supplement their retirement income. So they may not be getting into any full-time job in near future. For millennials, yes, that's the basic idea. Many of the millennial workers would typically try out several alternative jobs before they themselves figure out their true strength, as well as are able to get employers who are able to recognize their true strength. So that may lead to a full-time job as one goes through several stages of gig job experiences.
For those who just joined us, feel free to ask questions. We're here talking about the gig economy with Dr. Ram Dubey from the Feliciano School of Business. He is a professor of economics. Our next question is, can we expect to see a decline in the number of full-time positions being offered?
Not immediately. In fact, on that aspect, as I said before, there are very limited formal economic data analysis related to gig economy. One recent data we just found was about 1% of the economy consists of gig economy. So that may be indicating that full-time job offers may not decline immediately, but the offer of flexibility in work environment, in work choices, and work-life balances would make the gig economy remain there, as well as become stronger as we go forward. So I could see a situation where full-time job workers may seek some of the gig jobs just to supplement their income or to take care of their sometimes unexpected expenses.
So we have another live question. So will the millennials continue to do temporary jobs with nothing going towards their retirement accounts?
And yes, so that question brings us many legal aspects of the gig economy. As I said before, the gig jobs are treated as independent contracts. So firms do not hire a worker on permanent basis, which means the gig workers do not have many of the legal protections provided by laws. Two of the laws which came to my mind are a Fair Labor Standards Act as well as National Labor Relations Act. So gig worker typically would not be eligible for minimum wages, sick family leave, maybe even benefits, health insurance. So these are typical minuses for a gig worker, which means if a millennial plans to be in gig economy for long, then alternative arrangements must be made to take care of insurance, not only insurance, even the retirement planning. So those aspects will become prominent as we go further in future.
Okay, next question is, can you make a living working in the gig economy?
Yes, that's a very, very important question, and I did some research before coming for this session. If one looks at a professional who is towards the higher end of the spectrum, I could see many jobs being listed which offer wages in excess of $100 an hour. So certainly I believe those who are able to get such jobs would be able to make a living out of this. But if I look at an average worker, maybe I have a report. I saw one report, could be on a smaller scale, but was done by a firm which processes applications for loans. And the way they analyzed the data, the conclusion was about 85% of the workers they came across who are participating in gig economy have income below $500 per month. So that may not be adequate for making a living.
Okay, we have another live question. How can we overcome the hurdles of the gig economy that you just mentioned?
So one means these hurdles could be Could be because of the whole platform being recent development. So one would like to explore the gig economy platform to discover one's true potential and eventually lead to jobs which are of more permanent nature, because they would be the jobs which would have not only benefits, the protections, but also legal protections against many situations. One which came to my mind was anti-discrimination laws, anti-harassment protection. Those would be available only when one gets a full-time position. So one can always use the gig economy to begin with to work one's way through to discover one's potential and a good match.
Okay, next question. How will the relationship between employer and their workers shift as the gig economy becomes a new form of working?
Yes, so this question we need to understand in many features. First, as a legal on the legal basis, the gig worker is not treated as a permanent employee of the firm, which means the gig worker does not have any legal protection, as I have mentioned before, against maybe minimum wages, anti-discrimination, benefits, and several others. In addition, gig workers are typically not allowed to form unions, so they cannot unionize, and also many of the firms, they put restrictions on the performance of the job. So some of the platforms, they require the workers to be in uniform to maintain certain rating standards of their jobs done. If I'm looking at driving a cab, then to maintain certain levels of the cab service itself. Whereas, despite doing all those restrictive conditions, the person is not treated as an employee of the firm. So that's something which has drawn the attention of some courts. Even legal disputes have been raised, and very few decisions have been received on these challenges, mostly against the gig worker. So mostly in favor of the firms, that the person is an independent contractor rather than as an employee. So these relations will take some time. I have seen many state legislatures are passing bills, are working on bills which will treat the gig worker as an independent contractor. So that would more likely be to the detriment of the employees' benefits.
Okay, we have another live question. So is gig economy the future of work, or will it remain as a secondary option, looking ahead 5 to 10 years?
Yes, so and on that, yes, this question has drawn the attention of many experts. There are several opinions, as one might expect, both mixed, some positive, some negative. One of the important opinions I saw, no, gig economy is not going to overtake the regular full-time job market. That component will always be the dominant one. But the idea of flexible work as well as this new service economy, that is going to stay. So as we have seen, the gig platform, they have made the hiring process easier, transparent, and that's a distinct value addition to the economy. So that idea will persist for a long time to come. The inherent advantage of the gig economy is that the worker can use it on a temporary basis when they face situations of a shortfall in their regular income from the primary job, or when they face unplanned expenses. So they will be able to gain out of having been able to participate in the gig economy. So that's a very big plus. But on the negative side, if we look at the problem of low-skilled workers who are poorly paid, that's not specific only to gig economy. That's a general problem to the entire labor market. It's more of a systemic problem and will need solution on a wider scale, not only specific to gig economy. But still, on the whole, one tends to believe that the gig economy is here to stay and will keep growing.
Great. So as we ask our final question, I'd like to thank Dr. Dubey for his time. And the last question is the gig economy working?
Yes. Short answer is yes. Bit longer would be more or less yes, because the basic functioning of the gig economy, that is getting settled. It's a new platform. It's digital driven, so those platforms are becoming more and more stable. Opportunities for seeking flexible work hours, getting into better work-life balances, those aspects are the positive features. They are contributing to both the labor force as well as to the economic efficiency of the hiring process. So on that aspect it is working. But if I look at the workers getting protection, which is usually available to regular full-time positions, on that we are far from getting near to that situation. In many court rulings, it is just opposite. So the gig worker has been treated as an independent contractor, will not be eligible for any one of the benefits. So to that extent, maybe we can say that's a friction in the gig economy, but some such friction remains in any labor market, including the gig economy. So that should not be surprising to us. On the whole, again, I want to reiterate, it's working.
Great. So thank you all of us. Thank you everyone for joining us at today's session. We will see you at our next Feliciano Live. Until then, take care. Bye now.